Whoa. 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 Tap in with your kinfolk, you building a knot. Got the keys to the city when the city is locked. Open your mind, you can see the culture defined. Through the music and lifestyle, get deep in the lines. Seeking you find, we just want our people to shine. On that platform, you can rewind. This is bigger than some content, you can decide. That the keys to the city podcast is a vibe. Tap in.
What's going on, Kinfolk? Welcome back to another episode of Key to the City podcast. Yes, sir. We are back. We appreciate everybody that's been supporting us, everybody that's liking, sharing, commenting, telling your mama and them about us. Whatever you've been doing, we sure enough appreciate you. And we just gonna keep on rolling, man. Shout out to all the past guests we've had for this season 4. And we just knocking them out this season as we head into season 5. We just trying to continue to grow, trying to continue to play our part. And just like with our past episodes, this episode is no different. Before we get started, we want to shout out to all of my supporters down at Jackson State. We want to send our prayers and condolences to y'all this morning. I know it's an issue going on down there, but hey, we're going to bounce back just like we always do. But just like the past episodes, this episode is no different. We're going to keep hitting y'all in the head with quality content and quality guests. And if you are a sports fan, especially a college sports fan like I am, you know that the terrain has changed quite a bit. These players are making bread out here. And, most of our people dominate the sports arena anyway. So we want to talk about this NIL deal. You dig me? And a lot that goes into that. And these players getting money in their hand much sooner, than jumping, straight from high school to the pros. They recruiting these kids in middle school now. And if your kid has what it takes to be marketable, it's much more business opportunities that's going to be presented to you. So we want to make sure y'all are prepared for that. So our guest today is a best-selling author, inspirational speaker, award-winning filmmaker. She's a business manager and an athlete development strategist or strategist. However you want to use that word. I say strategist when I'm trying to be fancy with it. Her mission is to enhance the marketability of athletes, sports organizations, and entrepreneurs. She's worked with over 50 NFL, NBA, WNBA, Euro League, Chinese League, basketball league, that is, players for 16 years. 16 years. So she ain't new to this. She true to this. You understand me? She's a former Lady Rebel from Ole Miss. She was actually up there during the time that I was in school. I'm sure we crossed paths a few times. And the ladies were balling back then, which they still are. So shout out to all the ladies that was hooping in the tag pad back in the day. You did. She's also played professional ball in Europe as well. So like I say, she's been doing her thing, man. She's the CEO of Team Money Box, which is her signature team business and financial literacy program, which we need more of in this day and age. We want to hit them while they're young. She's the president and founder of the Athletes Nexus. They advise and consult with athletes and sports organizations. She was recognized as the top 40 under 40 alumni at Ole Miss in 2022. What? I didn't even graduate. I ended up graduating from Phoenix, but it's all good. I still love Ole Miss. They kicked me out of school, but hotty toddy. She's been featured on NBC Sports, Nerd Wallet, Top 50 under 40. Just to name a few, man. She's doing it all. I'm so blessed and honored to have her grace the city today. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Key to the City, Dr. Tywanna Smith. How you doing, Queen?
Thank you. You make everything sound so good, and it just so appreciate that. Good looking out.
No doubt. And look, you got so much going on. I got tongue tied. How do you find the time? Goodness gracious.
Everybody asks me that. And one thing I need to put in my timeline is I'm a mother of 2 little bitty kids.
Stop it.
6 and 8. So yes.
All right. So that knocks out all the excuses of anybody trying to do anything. This woman is the mother of 2 little ones, and she got 17 jobs. So, I want to hear them excuses. Let's get up and go. Woo! Right, you just put some fire to me. Yes, how your day going so far?
It's going wonderful. Just into this weather change down in the South. Okay. You know how we go. We go from summer to fall, but otherwise, we're well.
Yeah, it's about 40 out where I am right now. I'm out in Dallas though.
Yeah,
But it seemed like it just changed out of nowhere. Went from heat advisories to,
yeah.
straight fall.
Get
But
ready.
it's all good. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. So, president of Athletes Nexus.
Yes.
Before we jump right into that, I kind of want to give a brief background, some of the things I've mentioned. So, just for my audience, so they become more familiar with you. So, from college athlete, played pro ball a little bit. What was the moment where you decided that, hey, I'm going to retire from corporate America and transition to do what I really want to do and operate in your gift?
Yeah. I will say I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do when
Mm-hmm.
things began to click into place, but I got a job offer to make some good bread as a
Right.
financial advisor,
Okay.
working with Merrill Lynch from an Ole
Wow.
Miss alumnus, someone that is still very dear to my heart as a mentor. And it was easy for me to hang my Nikes up. I knew I wasn't going to be able to play forever and to go into, a job on Wall Street. And the way that I connected my passion and love and background in sport with that field was to work with athletes and to manage their finances. So it was an easy decision to retire.
Dope. And when you transition from college to playing professionally,
Yeah.
did you have any assistance, like someone that's doing what you're doing now to assist you?
Not really. So I did have an agent and I had a mentor, my cousin Marcus Brown, who is now he was in the NBA at the time, but he's now
Okay.
a coach at Murray State. He's one of the basketball coaches. And so he kind of guided me through that process of transitioning from collegiate to the pro and what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
But some of my day-to-day things, no, I probably still could have used more support,
Right.
which is, one reason I decided to do what I do today. So
Dope. Now we all know that sports has been an avenue to generational wealth for quite a few of us for quite some time. But we also hear the stories of, where people have mismanaged their funds and things of that nature. So, why is it important to you that now that the NIL has been introduced to help these athletes navigate this new terrain? Why was that such a big deal for you?
yeah, just as you just stated, first and foremost, sports are very, very important to our community, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about the African American community.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many of us who make it out of our communities, poverty-stricken communities, and we find a way through sport, right? And it's a
Mm-hmm.
way for us to turn around and pay it forward, not just to our families, but to all of the young people who look up to us, right? So it's important
Mm-hmm.
for us to have better understanding of business and money and how those things work. And having experienced it, having worked alongside so many athletes who come into a large sum of money quickly with no guidance, right?
Mm-hmm.
None. The parents don't have any, the families don't have any, right? No guidance on what to do with it. It was important for me to begin to reach back a little further. Let's get a little proactive about this
Mm-hmm.
experience and just teach general money principles in hopes of helping my target demographic, my brothers and sisters who hoop and
Come
play
on.
sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
Help them do better so we can just create this ripple effect throughout our communities around good, sound business and financial information.
As I stated in the during the introduction, and it's been going on for quite some time. It's been earlier contact with they're making earlier contact with these kids as they're in middle school and try to transition to high school. What are some steps or advice that you should give to their, or you can give to their parents that will help them navigate that? Because the kid is just in middle school right now. I mean, I know you offer a team business with that helps with financial literacy. So would
Mhm.
you attack that from both the standpoint of financial literacy for the team and the parent as well? Like, what would that approach look like?
Yes, we haven't focused on that demographic in that way, but absolutely. The
Mm-hmm.
first thing that I would share to parents that are in that position is to keep the main thing the main thing. Okay. If they're playing sports, the experience, the learning experience, the exposure they get through that. But keep the main thing the main thing. When we get to introducing money, and make no mistake, even college scholarships, this NIL, it's all money related. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Things shift very quickly. Okay. And if you're not grounded and understand clearly what you can do and what you want to do, you will find yourself getting swept up in that temporary hype around it, and it just ruins everything, for the young person, right?
Right.
Keep the main thing, but find you someone, okay, who is experienced enough to guide you through this process, right? Oftentimes, when we are talented or we have talented kids in middle school and they're already showing signs of promise, we sort of sit back and think that the opportunities will come, like things will fall into place, right? They're going to come to us, but that can be an overwhelming decision when you have all these people pulling on you. Find you someone, be proactive about finding a mentor in this space, even another parent,
Mm-hmm.
right, who has already seen their child through college or maybe to the pro, who can advise you on what's to come. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's such shark infested waters around sports for these elite players. All right, let's just keep it real.
Yeah.
And so it can be hard for you to even know if somebody's telling the truth, especially when you don't understand the game itself and how you need to navigate within that. So my main suggestion, find you someone. Find you a mentor in this space who has no skin in the game, right? But to
Mm-hmm.
make sure you can navigate this space properly, protect your baby, be mama and be daddy, but make sure that they're making important decisions properly, because these are some key decisions along their journey.
Mm-hmm. As an advocate for athletes, what's your overall opinion of the NIL deal being introduced to students? Do you think it's about time, or are you a fan of the old traditional way of the NCAA?
Yeah, so I'm on the fence here. I absolutely believe it's about time. All right.
Okay.
I just think that there's more needed with that opportunity, right? When you open
Mm-hmm.
that door up to these young people, right? You got grown folks who struggle with these types of decisions. And I'm talking about our pros, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and dealing with what comes with that. And
Mm-hmm.
essentially, we're making these collegiate and high school players pro athletes, okay? Because now they can, in many states, they can attract the same type of money. Even though they're still in school, they can do the same things pros are doing. Okay. But
Mm-hmm.
with that, I believe becomes a responsibility to, from our educational partners, to provide more support for these young people in navigating these things. You know what they say, with more money comes more problems, right?
Right,
And
right, right.
pops of the top, those things will work themselves out. But then you have an entire population of young student athletes who will struggle trying to play a game that distracts from the real game, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll find themselves on the short end of the stick. So I think it's a great thing, but I think we've got to do more educationally and developmentally to make sure they're prepared to take advantage of that opportunity.
And what you're doing is right on time, because one of the stories that stand out to me is oh man, how could I forget her? The young lady from LSU.
Yeah, Angel Reese. Yeah.
Yeah, Angel Reese. So she made the comment that she could really make more by remaining in college versus going to the pros. So it's like what you're doing is right on time with financial literacy. What's some avenues that, let's say she's made a couple million in college, she doesn't necessarily want to go pro. What's some good financial avenues she could possibly take that will help her sustain what she's already made and grow that even further?
Right. So, when I'm teaching basic financial principles, right, you've got savings, you've got investing, but you also have opportunities to capitalize as an entrepreneur, right? And
Right.
she is using her name in a lot of ways. Some things that aren't necessarily NIL, right? But because I started a business when I was in college back before NIL, right? So there are other ways to
Ah,
that aren't just based on using your name, image, and likeness as a collegiate student athlete, right? And sometimes I think
okay.
that that's one thing with this NIL conversation that makes kids think that's the only way that you can make money as a college student athlete, is if you're using your brand as an athlete. And that's not the case. You could make money doing all types of things, right? But
Mm,
I am a huge fan of entrepreneurship, right? And I do
okay.
have other programming for high school and collegiate athletes called Pro Ready, where I'm teaching them professional skills that must accompany your money knowledge. Okay.
Mm,
Sometimes we think we can separate them. You need to be pretty astute in business if you're also going to be a good, financial steward and investor. But I would say starting a business. I mean, she's beautiful. right? Wear her lashes, her nails, or anything, makeup, and that feminine, and it would automatically take off because she makes, she's beautiful and she makes playing basketball look beautiful, right?
Right.
As a young lady, you know what I'm saying, who has that pro potential and all of that. So I would say entrepreneurship is something that will continue to make money. When we think NIL, the thing when I do my workshops with collegiate student athletes, I try to teach them about their brand is not to limit themselves to that. That only applies when you're a student. You're not going to be a student
Okay.
forever, right? So
Right.
when you think about branding yourself beyond that, don't tie it so to your position as a student athlete, but to who you are, your values, your interests, and the thing that you want to promote, right?
Mm.
But you give a man a fish, what they say, right? You give a man
Yeah.
a fish, he can eat
He
for a
eat for a
day.
day. Yeah.
Teach him
Teach him how
how
to
to,
fish.
right? So when I'm talking entrepreneurship, I'm talking a way to, flip that, turn that over and keep that thing going long beyond your days as a collegiate student athlete, right? She's going to make money playing ball, but she needs to be able to transition it. And I'm sure she has. I haven't done a deep dive into, what brand partnerships she has or what businesses she started. But if she hasn't, I would definitely suggest entrepreneurship to take that brand to the next level.
Shoot, she could even become a best-selling author.
She could.
Just
That's
like my guest today.
appearance. That part. I appreciate the plug. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
So,
packaging her championship knowledge. Like, she's been good for a really long time. She's embraced it. She's been consistent and delivered, right? Some people get there and they struggle to stay there, but she's consistently with a lot of scrutiny. Right? Everybody can't perform under that type of pressure. You make mistakes on the big stage, you fix them and keep ascending higher. So yeah, writing books, speaking, creating courses where she can teach other folks how to develop the mindset that she has developed, merchandise, like I said, specific things related to her interest and just, sort of her demeanor and all of that. So there are a lot of opportunities for her to monetize other aspects that aren't just NIL specific.
right. Okay. I'm glad you broke that down because I thought any deal that they came across while they were, at a university or something like that had to be NIL related. So I'm glad you broke that down for me.
Yeah.
I was reviewing a interview that you did a while back, and you mentioned how, I don't know if you said that your company was doing it or you were partnering with others, but kind of packaging the financial literacy with mental health and kind of taking a holistic approach, because
Yeah.
I think some of our mental issues have a lot to do with some of the decisions that we make or our experiences in the past. So can you expound on that a little bit as far as
Yes.
packaging? Yeah.
Yes, for sure. And this is a part of my research as I was becoming Dr. Tywanna Smith
Come on.
that was really enlightening to like connect those dots, right? So the government has already established this link in other research and studies between stress and mental health and mental illnesses, right? When we are more stressed, we tend to suffer from mental health illnesses more frequently. Okay. So if I go a step further to the things that cause stress, that put us in the position to have to face these mental health issues, I found that sort of the career process and, knowledge about finances was one of those elements. It's stressful for people who don't have that knowledge and information, right? Like you're working paycheck to paycheck, or that's all you've seen, or you see people making money a certain way and you're stressing about how you're going to make a living. And you think about these high school student athletes who are coming out, right? You think about collegiate student athletes who are coming out. Everybody want to go pro. We all know just statistically, everybody's not going to get that opportunity. Okay.
Facts.
Some of y'all gonna have to do some other things, right? But as you're thinking about adulting, right, it is extremely stressful. So now I'm looking at the infrastructure in place for our young people to teach them those life skills. And I consider financial literacy as a life skill, right? They don't exist. Even in the format of a course, right, where you have many states who have required courses in that personal finance area. If it's not taught in a way that allows these young people to turn that knowledge into skills, that's a difference. Okay. I can tell you something all day, right? But it's very different in teaching you and empowering you where you know how to use that information, right, on a day-to-day
Right.
basis. Okay. And oftentimes it's difficult to do that in a traditional classroom setting. So yes, I've taken it personal, right? I have taken on the responsibility through my programming of meeting these young people where they are, understanding what their lived experiences look like, so that I can teach them how to take themselves a step further, right? Where the information they learned, saving, budgeting, investing, real estate, and being exposed to different things, entrepreneurship, stock market investing, and what that means, and
Yeah.
how that's supporting, and how you looking at brands now, right? You spending all your money on brands that you should be investing in, right? That's, I buy stock for my kids, like for their birthdays. They get so many shares of stock of some toy or something
That's what
they're
I'm talking
interested in, so
about.
they can make that type of connection. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yes, it's important for me to teach that. So then these young people will become young adults. And as they're implementing these things and seeing the results in their wealth building, when they have kids, they're able to create this cycle. And you started with information, but you ended by teaching them how to turn that information into skills. Right. And so when
Yeah.
we
Right.
talk about stress, that day-to-day grind, I saw my mama get up every day and she would go to work, but you could see the strain and stress on her face, right? And I'm thinking, well, how can I avoid that? The difference between the have and have nots, right, is information. Some folks know some
Yeah.
stuff, how to use some information in a way that others don't. So my way of being proactive about addressing stress that leads to mental illness is to teach business and financial literacy to our young people and their parents in hopes of creating this generational cycle of wealth.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Key to the City podcast. We got the Queen, Dr. Tywanna Smith, with us. But in our community, uh, you know, we need to invest, we need to save, we need to plan for the future, but we like to ball a little bit too.
Ooh,
How can
do
we
we?
balance getting a little bread and want to spoil mama a little bit, or give me a nice little why, son, just we got social media, I want to show off for IG, you know.
Yeah.
What do you say to a young college student that just came across a bag?
Yeah. First and foremost, when I'm teaching my teens as a part of our program, our very first lesson is about your money mindset. And we teach the psychology behind our money decisions. When I first became a financial advisor in 2007, that was one thing that I noticed more than anything, is how money decisions are emotional decisions. That emotion may be jealousy or envy, right? I see somebody else with that. I'm about to pop out too, right? It may be from, guilt, right? All the things I didn't have or my parents couldn't have when we were younger. So now that I got a little bread, I'm gonna make sure mama's straight. Okay. Whatever those emotions are, they typically guide our financial decisions. So making the students aware of that first and foremost, so they can pay attention that when they're out there, purchasing things in a certain shoes or what have you, where does that come from? Okay. Now, I understand this psychology behind money, so that when I'm working with my rookies, my rookie pro athletes, I'm not going to look at you and say, you done worked your whole life to be in this position. You make all of this money. All right. You can't spend none of it. Okay.
Right,
You can't
right,
spend none
right,
of it. Right. That, just keeping it a buck. So what I
right.
do is I try to create a reward system for them that keeps them focused on the main thing. Okay. They hear me say this. I keep the main thing. You're still going to go play. I still need you to perform. I still need you to put your best foot forward. And if you're able to accomplish these goals that we mutually agree upon over the course of this season, right? Then you can reward yourself with your thing, right? Everybody has a vice. I don't care. Some guys like jewelry, some, like cars, some like to travel, or, other things. But this is your reward. Okay. Putting in the work, for focusing, for disciplining yourself. Okay. Right. Because that's really the answer to emotional, when you don't have any emotional control. The passion and emotion that makes us great athletes, okay, is the same thing that gets us in trouble when it comes to money. All right. And so the cure to that is discipline, a process where you don't really have to think, you don't have to feel, you just got to do, right? This thing works. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, just like that. But once you get to the end of that process and you've accomplished these goals, now you can reward yourself, right? So you're coming to the same means to the end, right? You're still getting what you want to get. But you've had to go through something more to earn it, right? Rather than just waste money on assets that usually aren't going to pay you back in the long run. So We just attack the mental side, the psychological side of money.
You the goat. I love it. That positive reinforcement, because you can kind
Yes,
of apply it to an athlete. Like, this is just like practice on the field, but this is off the field. And then you make these necessary steps in practice. You may get more reps. You make the necessary steps
that
off the
part.
field.
It's
You
the
the goat,
language
man.
we understand. It's the language we understand, but it's understanding human nature. All right. Before they're
Hmm.
these successful celebrities, they're still human, right? They still
Right.
face the same emotional struggles that regular everyday folks do. They just do it on a stage where everyone can see when they make mistakes or when they're successful. And so teaching them now, they don't always listen. Okay, just let me
Right.
put that out there and just keep that real. They don't
Uh,
always listen, okay, but we try our best to ensure that the process is in place to protect them from themselves.
okay. So, and I hope I don't sound ignorant. So, I see you made a post. I think it was yesterday or maybe this morning. I don't know, but you all signed a new athlete, correct?
Yay, I'm so excited. Home
Congratulations.
basket. Yes, thank you, thank you.
And this is
Um,
the Athletes Nexus, right?
this is the Athletes Nexus. Yes.
So just tell my audience, what would you do for that client? Not
Oh yeah.
specifically, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no. This is we're excited too. This is our first baseball client, so I'm just super geeked. But he comes from
Okay.
a great family. So essentially, what we do is support the efforts of his agent and other people on his professional team. Right. So we have
Hmm.
people that are already in place to negotiate those contracts to get him signed to a deal. Cool. Our
Okay.
work is to be a part of his personal team and to build his brand outside of just playing sport. Right. So when it
Okay.
comes to marketing and endorsements, our firm helps to facilitate that, put his brand image together. We line up press and media for him to give him
Mm,
more exposure that does draw more eyes and sponsors. We do focus on business and financial management for him to
mhm.
ensure that his business entities and his enterprise is up running operationally. Taxes are in order. Okay, we won't play
Mhm.
that. You're gonna get an IRS
Right.
money. We're gonna try to make you don't have to give them as much money as possible, but you got to pay them their money.
Right.
And then community engagement is another pillar of what we do with them to connect them to the community. This is legacy building, right? And they can
Hmm.
start from ground zero. So all of those things that aren't directly tied to the sport, right? But that his sport can bolster his opportunity to make an impact. Our team will lead those activities for this player, and we're super excited. We're just really excited to work with them.
That's awesome. I'm glad you made it plain like that because I have some interviews I do. I receive DMs and guests are asking like, uh, what path did she take that I can do the same thing or anything like that. So what advice would you give someone? I mean, you kind of created your own lane though, so
Yeah, yeah.
it's like
No,
following your passion.
it is. It is. So, and I teach people, especially in the entrepreneurship realm about this a lot, right? Know yourself. Okay. Know yourself better than you know anybody else. All right. Your
Hmm.
skills, your interests, and your passions. We talked about stress. I do believe that we all should wake up every day doing something that we love to do. Okay. Just for the best quality of life. All right. Because that's
Hmm.
stressful to go to a job that you hate every single day.
Right.
Um, when I was at Ole Miss, I majored in the business department. I majored in marketing and I had a minor in business management. I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do. I did perform an internship. I am a fan of practicing so that you can
Okay.
see if this is something you really want to do. I interned in Ole Miss's marketing department and I
Hmm.
loved it. It was a great experience. It just wasn't what I really wanted to do. I was doing advertising, reaching out to sponsors, game day promotions. It was fun, but I enjoy being close to the athlete. I am an athlete. I was a former
Hmm.
pro, but I am an athlete. I still think like an athlete. They're my people, right? So I
Hmm.
enjoy being able to work directly with them. I had some options to become an agent, and that wasn't for
I was
me.
going to ask that. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people think I'm an agent. No, I'm a business manager, right? So I
Right.
manage these players, their talent and opportunities, but the agent is responsible for negotiating the sport contracts. Okay.
Mm.
Some of the things that come with that business just didn't resonate with me as far as just some of the the backbiting, the lying, and some of the tactics trying to get different players and all that stuff. Like I didn't want to spend time doing that.
Right.
And I saw a need, right? And so, you know, what
Mhm.
I would share to people who are looking for something they want to do, look at what problems you think need to be addressed in an area that you're interested in. For me, I found that athletes have contracts and then they didn't know what to do with the money. They don't know how to continue to build a brand that will help them when they get ready to transition out. It was just a gap. And so I would
Mhm.
have players hit me up leaving their NBA player association meetings, leaving their NFL PA meetings. Like, you know, hey T, what's up? You got to say, I need to ask you a question. Like, I got this packet of information they gave me, but I don't understand it. Like, I don't know what it
Mhm.
means. Can you explain this to me? So as I'm having these conversations, I'm like, okay, the leagues are giving out information, but there's still a gap because the players are now still on their own to
Right.
figure
Right.
out how to use this information, right? And so my practice just grew from there, but I really did kind of create my own lane by addressing a gap that I saw that needed to be filled amongst professional athletes around managing their lives and the opportunities that come with being a pro.
There
So
it
know
is, ladies
yourself.
and
I guess
gentlemen.
to answer your question, know yourself and just look for gaps, right?
Mhm.
But just try to make sure you're doing something that you're interested in and you're passionate about and that fits your skill set because you do need a particular skill set to
Right.
do what I do every single day. Yeah,
Right.
but yeah,
Right. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. She laid out the path for you. Figure out who you are, what you're good at,
yes.
and apply it. Before I let you go, your 18th job, you're also a philanthropist. Could you tell us a little more about your scholarship fund?
Yes. So I have a scholarship fund, the Tywanna Smith, actually a charitable fund now that
Okay.
I offer in collaboration with Arkansas Community Foundation, where I am able to support graduating girls basketball players in the state of Arkansas
Hmm.
and their hopes of going on to higher ed, going to college. They don't have to play ball in college, but I want to be able to support their dreams financially. I do believe that you can give back in many ways. And this is one that I've chosen. To date, we've given out over $8,000 over the last few years. And so I'm really excited about that to these young ladies to continue their education beyond high school. So yeah, that's the
Dope.
20 scholarship fund or charitable
Love it.
fund.
Love it. Love it. And Dr. Smith, also give out your socials so people can keep up with everything Dr. Tawana Smith.
Yes. Please connect with me. And if there's anything I can do, let me know. You can connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Dr. Tywanna Smith is my handle. And I'm on LinkedIn as well, Dr.
Hmm.
Tywanna Smith. And you can also reach me by going to my website. You can see all of the other, we say other 17 things that I do
Right.
at tawannasmith.com.
There it is. There it is. And hopefully I'll run into you at Black Alumni Weekend.
Yes, I'll
Uh,
be there. I'll be
is it
there.
next year? Is it gonna be
It
next year?
is. It's this coming up year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hope
I'm
I see
very
you
tied
there.
to Ole Miss, and I'm sure we passed each other. I
Oh,
am on the
most
board of
definitely.
directors there,
Okay.
so even though you didn't graduate, with you alumni family, okay,
Yes, ma'am.
and yeah, very tied to the SIP. So it's exciting.
I said I was gonna go back and finish. I got more than enough credits, but I just can't let them think they defeated me. I need to go back and finish.
Yes, come back.
So yeah, I may do that. Ladies and gentlemen, wonderful episode. We want to thank you once again, Dr. Tawana Smith, for dropping through and dropping some gems on us. So I hope your parents out there paid attention, as well as you college athletes, high school athletes. And we wish you much success in your endeavors. Dr. Smith, continue to do your thing, Queen. We support you here at Key to the City, and we love to have you back in the future.
Thank
And
you.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, kinfolk, peace, love, blessings. We see y'all next week. We out.